In this code, I am making a text-based game. And starting from the top, I will explain. Right now, I'm just putting in the damage output for the person, the playable character, and the weapons. I've only got 3 weapons, and just think of it like a D&D kind of game, and it'll make it so much easier to understand. So starting at the top, I went over the player damage. The player damage will randomly generate a number between 15 to 45. And then for the second line of code, we're talking about the multiplier. Every weapon has a multiplier. And starting with the club is a 1.5 multiplier. So what you would do is you will multiply the player damage times the club modifier, and that will give you your first base damage. And then after that's done, you have to do a club skill check. The club skill check will consist of a 1 to 20 dice roll. And depending on what you roll in that dice is will determine how much damage you put out. So if it's under 5, there will be no free damage. There won't be anything added on from the multiplier to the player's damage. For the second one, if it's more than 5 but less than 12, then you would do a low crit. The low crit roll will gain an additional 10 points of damage. And then from if it's greater to 11, if it's greater than 11 but less than 17, then your crit will be a moderate crit. The moderate crit will give you an extra 15 points of damage. And if it's greater than 17, then you'll get a 45-point damage increase. For the second one, sorry about that, Facebook's on. For the second one, it's the short sword multiplier. The short sword multiplier is 1.2. So whatever is 15 to 45 damage will multiply to 1.2. I wasn't sure about this. This is supposed to be the well-rounded weapon. Nothing that depends on luck. Nothing that depends on raw damage. Just like super normal. So what I did for this one is when you roll, of course, if it's less than 5, then you won't get anything added on. But if it's between 5 and 11, yeah, if it's greater than 5, if it's greater than 5 and less than 12, then you'll get a low crit. The low crit will add on 1 to 5 damage. And then so on and so on. If it's greater than 11 but less than 17, then you have rolled a moderate crit and that'll add 5 to 10 more damage. It'll randomly generate. And for the last one, if it is a high crit, then you will do 10 to 15 more damage. I wasn't sure about this because it seemed kind of low, but since it's a moderate thing, then I was going with it. And for the dagger multiplier is 1.1. It has the lowest base multiplier. So you're completely relying on the skill check for the dagger. The dagger, the same from the other ones. If it's less than 5, then you get nothing added. But if you roll more than a 5 but less than a 12, then you will get a 1.5 to 2 additional modifier. So not only it will randomly generate 15 to 45, then you'll multiply that to 1.5, and then you will multiply that from 1.5 to any number between 1.5 to 2. And then from if it's greater than 11 and less than 17, then it'll do the same thing from 2 to 2.5. And for the last one, if it's anything greater than 17, then you'll get a whatever your player attack was times 1.1 to 4.0 to 4.5. 4.0 to 4.5. And I haven't added the last one in. The last one's going to be like a melee fighter, and I'm not sure what the gimmick's going to be for that one. But to start it off, in order, it would be dagger, short sword, club. So when I went over here and started testing the damage output, these were the rolls. Starting from right here, dagger, it rolled a 17 and got a high crit, but it looked like the base damage was low. So the dagger rolled a 17 and it got a high crit, but it was only 42. The other two, the short sword and the club, failed the skill check, so they got the base damage of 20 and 25. And then let's move on to the second roll. The second roll was it got a high crit. The dagger got a high crit again. The short story got a 9, which was a low crit, and the club got an 8, which is also a low crit. So it was 45 to 25 to 38. See, I'm trying to see if this makes sense. Like, the damage output is good enough. All right, in the third one, the dagger rolled a high crit, got a 66. The short sword rolled an 11, got a 35. And the club got a critical of 18 and rolled an 88. And then the next one, these are like probability checks, I guess, to make sure that everything seems fair. All right, the dagger roll, he rolled a 3. He rolled a 3. He failed the skill check, but his damage still came out to be 3.8, 38. Sorry, that's probably because I don't know. I would have to go back and check that one out, but that's what it was. And then the next one is the short sword. The short sword rolled a 9, so whatever it was, it had a that's because all right. So I keep thinking that the damage output is lower. I keep thinking the cap is 25, but it's 45. That's how he got a 38. The next one is 47. So he rolled a 9, got a low crit, so he added on. He added on. Let's see. 9 will be right here. 1 to 5 more damage, and that gave him a 47. And the last one was he did a moderate blow for the club. So the club got 67. And as you see, the same thing repeats over and over. And this one, the short sword got a critical and only received 46. And that's why I want to raise the damage for the short sword. But for the last one, the dagger had a phenomenal roll and rolled a 200, rolled a high critical, and then also got a base damage of a high number. So his came out to be 201 damage. So I was like, is the dagger broken? But then I had to remember that it's only a 3 out of 20 chance for someone to roll that. So that's just what I was coming down to make sure that everything made sense. And what's your guys' opinion on it?